Are you ready? It's 12 noon, and today's episode is why do 50-50 relationships fail? Well, if you want to know why, you're going to watch this episode because we're going to give you 5 things that every relationship has to have in order to thrive. And I know that right now that may seem like the thing that the 50-50 relationship is something that we want or that is real. We're going to dispel the myths and we're going to give you 5 elements that every relationship has to have in order to thrive.
We appreciate you guys coming and hang out with us, but we're going to jump right into it because people don't like waiting. So get to it, babe.
Okay, I want to show you this. Now, if you were in a store and you walked into the produce area and you saw these 2 lemons in the produce section, which would you purchase?
Probably the whole one.
Why?
Because this is unplanned. So
Why would you not purchase?
because I was looking for a whole lemon.
Right. And so in relationships, people are looking for whole people, not half people. So just in the reality, just as this lesson is showing you, in real life, we're looking for whole people. You don't want to go and look for a half of a person. And so that just alone gives you a visual aid to understand that 50-50 relationships are not even natural to your mind. And so we want you to kind of come into this episode with a visual aid of why 50-50 relationships fail. And we're going to give you 5 elements that every relationship has to have in order to thrive. And so, babe, I want you to share a story that kind of helps people to kind of understand, well, why are we even doing this episode?
The reason...
First, my name is Renee.
Gil from the Rich Relationship Refuge.
Kiss me, kiss me.
But now, what was your question again?
Share a story with you of when you realized that 50-50 relationships don't work and why they don't work.
When we were dating, I realized when you start comparing previous relationships to the one that you may be presently in, I thought about just from the dating aspect, who I was dating at the time and comparing them to you at a later time. And I realized as we got more serious in our relationship that I realized it was going to require a lot more than I was giving at my present state. And that was a little unnerving, to say the least.
And I can say for me, I think about it, let's think about it from the financial perspective. If I was going to go and have a job, I had an employer, and they told me, I'm only going to give you 50% of your income. How many of you wants an employer to tell you they're only going to give you 50% of your income? Or if from the health perspective, if only 50% of your heart is working, then guess what? That can cause health problems. If only 50% of your brain is working, that can cause a problem. And so in reality, we want to paint all these pictures so that we can kind of just have a practical understanding. And the Bible says, love the Lord your God with all your heart, all your mind, and all your strength. It does not say half. And so for those of you who believe that 50-50 relationships are viable, I think that's fine when you start off that way, and you may believe that in the beginning. But I was thinking about it as we were getting prepared for this. One of the things that I realized, the reason why people can go into a relationship thinking that 50-50 is going to work is because they don't understand that if I accept half of what a person is, then when they grow and when they change, it's real easy for me to say, oh, they're not the same. We outgrew each other. Maybe the reason why people are outgrowing each other in these 50-50 relationships is because they never really went into it giving it their all.
Right.
And so when you see someone bring all of who they are, then it seems as if it's too much. So it's better in a relationship to come into the relationship bringing all of who you are, your strengths, your growth areas, your highs, your lows, and give all of who you are. Because if I'm 100%, I'm giving 100%, and you're giving 100%, because that's not always going to be the case. We're not always going to be giving 100%.
Right.
I can give an example. I think about when I was pregnant. You know, I could not give 100% of myself to Gil because I was pregnant. So does that mean that our relationship is going to fail? Does that mean it's like, no, it's going to be times when he's carrying more of the weight and times when I'm carrying more of the weight. But if I'm giving it 100% and I'm coming in at 100%, it's more likely for us to be able to still sustain it versus I'm a whole person, I'm only giving half, and he's a whole person, he's only giving half.
So we're gonna get right into it. So the number one reason is
The thing that these are 5 things that so we already dispelled the myth. 50-50 relationships will fail, and these are the 5 things that you need to bring into your relationship to make sure that they don't fail, and this is what helps them to thrive.
and when I give you these things, they are not in any particular order, but you think about it and comparing it to yourself. Because when we were coming up with this and thinking about it and talking about it,
And praying about it.
and I was thinking about it, okay, what if I only went into the first one, communication, only giving 50%? When we first got married 36 years ago, Renee is let's just say it this way. Most relationships, you have a primary communicator and a person who doesn't talk as much. I'm the latter. I don't talk as much as Renee does. Not because I don't have anything to say, but that's just my makeup and our dynamic.
You're introvert.
Yeah, naturally. And so Renee, even when we were dating, she was a communicator from the time her eyes pop open to the time they go to sleep. And
Yes.
she don't want to go to sleep then. She'll go to sleep talking to me, which is okay now that I'm adjusted to it. But you have that primary talker. But in our relationship at the beginning, just imagine if I only talked 50% of the time when she was either asking me a question or I was only giving her half answers. And I think I was doing that at the beginning of our relationship where I would give these one word answers or these very short statements, not because I was upset or mad or anything. It was just my dynamic where I had to learn that it's going to require more, just like I said at the beginning, more of me. So if I was only giving 50%, that 50% looked like, hey babe, how you doing? Good.
Yeah.
Where you want to go eat? Wherever you like. I'm serious. That's how it was.
Yeah.
But as we grew together and I realized I'm going to have to give more, not just in dialogue, but just like we've taught in past lessons, communication, primary role in your communication, in your relationship is to help give understanding. The only way Renee is going to understand me is by me communicating to her. But if I'm only communicating 50% of the time, it's going to be challenging.
Or 50% of your heart and your thoughts and your ideas. And a part of what communication is 2 parts. Is sharing what you want and what you need, and it's also listening. So while our personalities are different, Gil is an excellent listener. And because he's an excellent listener, it's helped me to be a better listener.
So think about that on the flip side of that. If I'm talking more, but imagine if you're in your relationship, if you're only listening half the time.
Yeah, 50%.
You think that's going to be challenging?
Yes, it's going to be fun.
It's going to be a problem.
Yes, because the one thing that you may not listen or you may not hear, you may not understand, may be the thing that person really needed. And so this is so the number one is communication. You have to have communication in order for your relationship to really grow and thrive. And it can't be 50% communication. It has to be 100% communication.
So, and I want to add this little part, and this is just for the guys. Guys, I'm going to give you a secret. If you want to score some points with your spouse, your significant other, your dating person, the 3 sexiest words that you can tell her or say to her is, tell me more.
Yes.
If you say, babe, tell me more about that. Oh, you're going to score all kind of cool points. But that's a bonus tip.
Yes,
that's a bonus tip. So if you got any bonus tips that you want to add to this
Put
list,
it in chat.
put it in the chat. Or if you got comments that you want to add to the conversation, put it in the chat because we actually have some feedback from
We have a segment of our
community.
show that we're going to do now, and it's going to be questions from our community.
Okay.
So we're going to do that in the middle later on. But so the number two thing that you have to have in a relationship in order for it to thrive is trust.
You can't be 50% trustful.
Yes, and a part of it is trusting your words, your actions, your patterns. I think about it. I always say when your words and your actions aren't telling the same story, which one of them is lying? And so trust, and it can't be 50% of trust. It has to be I'm trusting you, but trust has to be earned over time.
Tell tell them about the 50%. Well, I would, as we were talking about this or thinking about it, I was thinking about the gas station.
Oh, wow.
I felt like that was a 50% example, 50-50 example where, why don't you share that with them about how you felt?
Well, the reason why I had a problem with so Gil and I were dating, and we were supposed to go out, and back then we didn't have cell phones, and so we were supposed to be going on a date, and he didn't show up, and he didn't call, and he didn't respond, and that was not like him. So I was upset and I was mad, and I was going to end our whole relationship over this one scenario. And so I guess the reason why Gil was saying he thinks that's one of those 50-50 is
Examples.
because one of the things that's different about a relationship where it's based on everybody is giving 100% is that it's not I'm giving to take, it's that there's reciprocity.
Yeah.
And so that was a time where that was a situation where I didn't feel that I was getting what I was giving. And so because I hadn't done that to him, and then you start telling yourself, well, I would never do that to him, and I don't understand why. And so you take yourself down this, you spiral, because you get in your feelings and your emotions, and you start ignoring, and I ignored all the other good things he did, and that's what my godmother said. So you're gonna break up over him over one thing,
Right.
one situation. And so that's where that mindset of 50-50, or I'm not gonna give my all, can be a problem. And so what we're talking about,
It's 50-50 in relationships. You ever heard that term? I'm only going to give 50%. Well, we got some things that we sharing with you today. And if you stick around to the end, we're going to give you one that I think is the most important one. But just like somebody, Al's Ghost is saying here, bonus tip number 1. I like it. I like bonus tips. I understand why you feel the way you do.
yes, versus I'm sorry you feel that way. Thank you
don't
for sharing
say that.
that.
Don't
what
say
you
that.
don't want to say is I'm sorry you feel that way.
Why is that?
Yes, because you make the person feel undermined, and you make them feel dismissed, which can lead to a lack of trust.
And I would
And
say,
we're talking about trust.
yes, spilling over into trust, but that also you not taking ownership for your part in the situation.
Yes.
If when you say, Renee, I'm sorry you feel that way.
Yeah,
That's me saying I'm not
accepting responsibility
accepting
for
my
your part
part.
in it.
Yeah,
or
accepting.
even trying to understand it.
Yeah, because I'm just saying, I understand you feel that way, but that's a you problem.
Right, and it's
Because
not.
that's what's kind of happening in the background of their mind is when you say things like that, that's a you problem, that you feel the way you feel because of whatever. Because no matter what situation you're in or what you do or however you get into conflict with each other, you have a part in it.
Yes, and you have to accept your part.
If you disagree, put it in the chat.
Yes. Okay.
And
so,
then wait, we got another comment. No, you cannot give 64%, Nick. I know you like the stats and numbers and everything.
100%. You're a whole person.
No, you cannot do it.
I showed this example earlier. If you went into the store and they were going to charge you full price for a half of a lemon,
64% of a lemon.
would you be okay with that?
Heck no, you wouldn't.
You
buy
want a whole lemon, and you want a whole person, and you want to get 100%, not 50%, 100%.
Let me ask you this: would you like it if your significant other only gave you 64%? Ooh.
Yeah. You want to give your all. And so number 3 of the 5 things that you have to have in order to thrive in relationships is emotional safety. And a part of emotional safety kind of goes back to that, I'm sorry you feel that way. The way you make someone feel emotionally safe is that you acknowledge and you understand. You don't agree.
You don't have to agree.
You don't have to agree, but it's emotional safety is if when I talked to Gil and I told him,
Right.
hey, I have a problem that you didn't show up.
Oh,
and,
wow.
and the reason why we were able to get over that situation was because he did give me emotional safety. He was like, first of all, don't cuss at me. That was one of the things he said. But
Right.
the other thing was, I'm sorry I didn't do what I was supposed to do.
Or I didn't.
I'm sorry I
yeah.
didn't call. He didn't try to make excuses. He owned it. He accepted responsibility. And so a part of making someone feel emotionally safe is
You got to be a safe place.
you have to be a safe place.
I think about in 1 Corinthians 13, love protects.
Yes.
You can read the rest of it, but that tells you that when it says protect, I have to feel safe to be able to go to Renee with whatever's concerning me, whatever I feel. And I think for me, and I'm only talking about me, y'all. So this is one of those therapeutic sessions. When you think about 50%, I was given 50% of our relationship in the beginning from an emotional standpoint because one, I was deficient in understanding what my emotions were. So how could I rightfully communicate that to her or even respond to it in the right fashion when I wasn't even aware of it? But one thing that Renee has helped me over the years do is identify and balance out those emotions to know how I'm feeling, but also why I feel the way I feel about a particular situation to bring that to them. Imagine if your person that you're involved with was only 50% emotionally connected to you.
Right. It won't work.
It definitely won't work. You shouldn't have it. You shouldn't, your goal should be 100%. You only can give 100% of it
Of
and
yourself.
of yourself. And even in this situation, when you're talking about it from an emotional standpoint, you have to feel safe. You can't look at your past relationships or your past hurts and pains and bring that into your present relationship thinking it's going to level out or balance out. You got to do
You
something
got to
different.
unpack. You got to
Yeah, you
unpack
got
those
to visit
things.
those things, but you also have to be a safe place for, I have to be a safe place for Renee to come to me and to be able to share things that's concerning her, what's on her mind, what's on her heart, and let her know that I am a safe place. I'm not gonna go tell it to my friends.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna.
I'm not gonna weaponize it. I'm not gonna wait until
Ooh,
another time.
wait.
That,
Talk about that weaponizing it. How can you weaponize
if you share something with me that is a growth area or something you're struggling with, and I wait until we're arguing and I say, well, that's why you such and such and such and such. So in other words, I took something that you shared in a moment of vulnerability,
Right.
and then in a situation where we're upset or we're heated, I use it against you.
Right.
So instead of me guarding and protecting you, I'm using it against you.
Yep.
I'm using it to make you
Al's
feel.
goes out. Boy, Al, keep throwing these bonus tips in there, man. I love it. I love it.
Thank
I
you.
shouldn't have done that. That's taking ownership.
Right.
That's 100%.
That's right.
And how can I make things better? That's letting the person know. And thanks, Al, for those comments.
We
That's
appreciate
letting
you.
that person know that I'm in this with you and I see you and I hear you and I understand what you're going through. Even if you're not responsible for it, it could be something that happened to them at work.
Yeah.
It could be something that happened to them with a friendship or a close another friend to where they need someone that they can go to and vent to. You want to be that safe place. That
Yes.
should
For
be
each other.
a goal that you have. See, she flirted with me now. That threw me off for a second when she started rubbing my hand. So that has to be a safe place for you to be able to establish that kind of communication and trust. And I liked Al, I like the way you're kind of building on this. And you think about it, you're building on these. This ain't 50-50.
Yeah.
You want 100% from the person that you're in a relationship
And you
with.
want to give. It's more important that you want to give
Yeah.
100%, because it's not about controlling the other person. If I'm giving 100%, I realize that if I chose well, that's important. If I chose well, then I'm going to receive it. There's going to be reciprocity. Now, if you didn't choose well, that's not that person's fault because you still chose them. And so, what we're trying to do is we're trying to prepare you so that when you go into relationships, you're going into it.
Or if you're in a
Or
relationship
if you're
right
in a
now.
relationship, that you're looking for the things that really matter. Because a part of the whole 50-50 thing is because this culture believes that, well, what the question is, well, what do you bring to the relationship? A man, not a boy,
And a woman, not a girl.
a man is not going to understand that he's going to be the head and the leader, but then expect the person they're supposed to be leading to be equal to them in everything. And so we're equal in responsibility. We're equal in love. But when it comes to what God calls for the husband to be the head, he's called to be the head. He's called to be the leader. And so therefore he's called to be the provider. He's called to be the protector. He's called to be all those things. And so it's important that we understand that with the mindset of 50-50, you're going into it at a deficiency because you're going into it thinking that you owe me something, versus marriage is where you go to give and not to take. And I think that when we go into it with that 50-50 mindset, we're setting ourselves up for failure, because a relationship that's not based on me giving my all and you giving your all is going to lead to us being, we're going to lead to us being,
And you think about it, when you go into a relationship, you're a single person, you're only used to taking care of yourself.
Yes.
You're only used to only thinking about yourself. Now you're being called upon to give more to another person. Let's just say you go into the relationship, you give all 50% from the upbringing, from the jump. You gave all you got to the relationship. Well, now you are 50% deficient, where you are going to have to build on the things that we're sharing with you today about. You're going to have to communicate a little bit more. Just like I was telling you about what I had to do with Renee, you're going to have to be that emotional steady state for that person, to let them know, to build that trust in them, to let them know that you are that safe place to where they can come to you, because we all have had bad relationships
Yeah.
in the past that ended, and you can't expect this person to know and be held hostage to your past.
Right.
If you're holding somebody hostage to your past and your past experiences, your past traumas, your past triggers, your past pain, all the buzzwords that we hear today, that is something that's going to be a hindrance to you in the development. Relationships are a development cycle. You don't go into it from the very beginning. And we're not saying 50-50 is the end result. 50-50 is the starting point.
No, it's 50-50 is not even the mindset, because you're not 50-50. You're 100%. You should go into everything that you do giving it 100%. You should not go into anything, a job, a relationship. You shouldn't go into anything only give it 50%, because you're not a half of a person.
So if you're just joining us, what we're talking about,
we're dispelling the myths that a 50-50 relationship is
works.
even sustainable.
Yeah, it doesn't balance out when you talk about work and effort. We already shared to you the first one, which was communication. Then we talked a little bit about trust. And then we actually talked about their emotional
safety.
state.
Emotional safety. And then, so number 4 is shared vision.
Why is
It's
what does that mean?
important that you have shared vision, because if I don't have a goal or vision for my life, and I don't know what I want or what I need, if I don't know what I want to pursue, how could I expect that I'm going to get with this other person, and then they got to figure it out for themselves and they have to figure it out for me? It's important. And this is why singleness is a gift. This is why singleness is a time of, or
Discovery.
even after a breakup, you have time to really think about, okay, what do I want? What do I need? What are the things I want to accomplish? And the beautiful thing about finding someone where you have shared vision, it means they have vision. There is no worse feeling than you have all these goals and dreams that you want to accomplish, and the person that you're with has nothing. They bring nothing to it except they're not. So someone who doesn't have vision for themselves can't encourage you with your vision. One of the things that I try to make sure that I do is, because one person is going to always bring more of anything to a relationship. You're going to have growth areas and strengths. And so where that might be my band to have vision, I'm going to also share my vision with my husband, and also encourage him to have a vision and encourage him to have a dream. Not that he does, because you should have that. You need to have shared vision, but you first need to make sure you have vision for yourself.
And I would say in this aspect, we're not talking about a transactional relationship to where what that looks like is you have an idea of what you're trying to build. You want to be a mogul. You want to have this empire. You want to build let's just use it for example, a real estate empire.
Right.
And I'm partnered in with someone that's going to help me achieve that. That's your vision. That's fine to have that. But that should not be the goal for you partnering in with someone to say, we are going to build this together. That should be something that gets established through the development of the relationship first.
That's a business merger. If you're getting together for what you can do together financially, or if you're getting together because it's cheaper to live together, that's not sustainable, because it's not, money's great, but money won't keep you.
I'll give a good example of how we had to come to an understanding with this. I think about Renee had a vision of owning her own salon.
No, I didn't. We just happened. I didn't want no salon.
She didn't, but
it just kept happening.
She say she did.
Let me tell you why. You know why we have salons?
I say she did. I'll tell you why, but go ahead, babe. Go ahead.
The reason why we own salons, because I don't do well working for people. So we had our own salons because my standards were super high, and working for other people didn't work for me. But at the time, I didn't know I was a visionary. I just knew I didn't do good working for people. I'm not a good employee.
I'm going to say this. Okay, it may not have been a shared vision to own a salon, but a shared vision to be independent in your own career.
In everything.
Is that accurate?
Yes, babe, you're right.
Okay, I stand corrected. Y'all just seen a conflict get resolved right there in real time. I was wrong. I accepted my responsibility in it. I wanted her to be emotionally safe, and we're communicating. So we're demonstrating all this to you right now in real time. So this stuff really works, y'all. So she had a vision to be her own independent person.
Yes.
In her own vocation, her own chosen, the entrepreneur,
everything.
however she wanted to, however you want to describe it.
I wanted to be my own person.
She was her own person. But when I say shared vision, so my vision for her was, okay, that's what you want to do. It just came through the vehicle of your vocation, which was a hairstylist at the time.
Yes.
So the way we did that is she opened up, she said salons with an S.
Multiple.
If that's not something that was a vision, it just, trust me, it's going to grow, which is the point to this. Your vision and a person partnering in with you with your vision, having a shared vision, mean I want to do everything that I possibly can to help her achieve her vision.
And he has been my angel investor. He has been my painter, my plumber, my assistant.
That's because we are broke, y'all. We didn't want to pay. But my point is that when we were doing that, I didn't know that how I could help her achieve her shared vision was by me lending my efforts and my abilities to help her accomplish what she wanted to accomplish. It's easy for you. It was easy for me to just be focused on my own and what I'm trying to accomplish. When you are partnered in with someone for life, or even if you're in a dating stage, you play like you practice. Dating is practice for marriage. You want to be partnering in and helping them achieve their vision and their goals and their aspirations while you are just dating. We were doing this while we were just dating. So when you get together in a lifelong committed relationship, i.e. marriage, you're going to still continue on that path to help them accomplish their goals.
Because you play like you practice.
That's it, man. Because in Colossians chapter and Philippians chapter 2, they talk about it having a selfish ambition. You don't want to be selfish even in your own achievements of what you're trying to do. You want to help them achieve their own vision, their vision of what they have. Because guess what? You're going to benefit together when you do it.
Our favorite scripture for Rich Relationship Refuge is Ecclesiastes. 2 is better than 1.
Yes.
A threefold cord is not easily broken. The benefit of a relationship where you're both giving your all is that there's reciprocity.
Yep.
And there's times when you have strengths and goals and things you're good at and things I'm good at, and when we come together, we can always accomplish more together than we could apart because we're working to help each other. It's not going to be equal. It's because there's going to be things that you're good at and that I'm good at, and then it's a matter of us respecting each other's differences,
right,
and embracing them and saying, okay, let me help you with this. And then you saying, let me help you with that, and us helping each other.
Right. And so what we're trying to do is just give you some ideas and some things to think about. If you've ever heard the term 50-50, marriage or committed relationship is 50-50, we give it all. It's not. We're giving you the reasons why it's not. We already talked about the
four of the 5 things that you have to have in relationships for them to flourish. And the fifth,
before you give the 5th one, you got to wait for that one. If you want to hear the 5th one, and I say it's the most important, we're going to go into the comments because even from the past 2 episodes we actually had people give feedback. And even if you're watching this live, we will respond to you live right now in the feedback in the comments for the ones that are actual beneficial to the conversation. For those who are just basically putting up nonsense, I just ignore, or we just ignore them, which is fine. But what we're talking about is the comments. This is for people who are trying to get better at their relationships.
So this is our time in the episode where we're going to call it Questions from Our Community.
One-on-one. It's
our one-on-one with you. So if you want a one-on-one with us during these lives, you have to put it in one of the platforms. Because give the person's name.
Big J.
Hey, Big J. Thank you for being
3339.
Thanks for being one of the most important parts of our community. And these are the questions that Big J 339 has.
Okay, so the first one, it's actually a couple. So the first one, it says, should you not take, and think about what we're talking about now, about this 50-50 and the 4 things that you've heard already, which was communication, trust, shared
emotional safety, and shared vision.
Emotional safety and shared vision. When should you not take an ex back? When should you not take an ex back as far as relationship? You can put yours in the comments if you want to. If you want to contribute to the conversation to help, Big J. But when should you not take your ex back? You want to start?
I have a philosophy and I have stuck by this. Off and on relationships normally end up off. And normally when you've ended a relationship, unless you ended it when you were like teenagers and now you're adults.
Yeah.
But normally when relationships are off and on, it's normally a reason why. And if you're talking about an ex-girlfriend or you're talking about an ex-spouse, it's going to be different for, like, to me, I think that in the boyfriend girlfriend relationships, if you broke up,
That was a
you
reason.
should just leave it, because normally you end it for a reason, and it's better to go forward than to go backwards. Now, if you're talking about a spouse, that's different, because I believe in reconciliation, and I believe that in a marriage relationship, if you've not gotten the tools, the support, the community that you need to really thrive in your marriage, you can get married again and do it better, do it different. So I think in a marriage relationship, you should take them back when you have both done the work to really examine your own hearts and know where you failed in the marriage and what you brought to the relationship that was unhealthy. And then you both have to agree that you want to come back together.
So you think about it from the boyfriend girlfriend stage, or just dating or seriously dating, however you want to describe it. When should you not take them back? First, ask yourself this question: why did you break up?
In the first place.
Not because of a reactionary response or anything like that. We call that you're focusing on the symptom.
Right.
You have to get to the root cause of why you broke up. It was basically a different view set as far as about character traits and things like that. One big one for us, because we're a Christian-based channel, we actually use the Bible as our point of reference, as our landing spot, our foundation. If you don't have a shared faith-based belief system,
Right.
that's a reason. And it's not going to change. It's not, dating should not be evangelism to where you're trying to convert them to
It's
Christianity or anything like that. So you have to ask yourself that question: why did you break up in the first place? You know, even if it wasn't knocked down, drag out, yelling and screaming and everything. A quote from a movie that I watched is one of my favorite movies. It said, "Things always end badly.
Yeah.
That's why they end."
Yeah.
So if you ended the relationship, there was a reason why. Sometimes you have a problem coming to the truth of why you're
It's the
breaking
letting
up.
go. It's the letting go part that's hard.
Yeah, absolutely. So you have to be honest with yourself 100% of the time. If this person, if you don't get, even to this day, just like you seen it earlier in the video, I mean, that we're doing right now, Renee touched my hand and threw me off. I still get butterflies from her just touching me or anything like that after
do
36
too.
years.
It make me blush.
It's the same thing that you can use as a measuring stick. If you're not excited and look forward to seeing each other, and you're just enduring and surviving and lasting in a
Existing.
relationship, just existing, there's a reason why you broke up. If you don't have those feelings, you have to be honest with yourself about where is this going. It goes back
And the
to,
work produces the feelings.
say that again, explain that.
Actions lead, feeling follow.
Wait, say that again.
Because we are intentional.
Actions lead, feelings
Feelings
follow.
follow.
I don't feel this.
Right. It's because you're not doing nothing. We read, we pray, we kiss, we date, we talk, we connect, we spend time together. So those feelings are going to continue to have fuel to the fire. But if you don't talk, you don't spend time, you don't connect, there's nothing you're doing to be connected, then the feelings are going to fade. So actions lead, feelings follow. So it's not just that it just happened, you have to work at it. I want to say one thing. One definite reason for knowing that an ex should stay an ex is if there's physical, sexual, or emotional abuse.
Yes.
In a situation
Absolutely.
like that, there is no, I don't care if it's a wife or husband, in a relationship where there is physical, sexual, or emotional abuse, an ex should stay an ex.
Yes.
In that.
You
So
need to
to
get
give
to
an absolute
safety.
answer,
Yes.
when you know you should not take an ex back is when there's been physical, emotional, or spiritual abuse. You should not take that person back, because that's not going to change.
Right. And especially if they're not seeking true help. When they say, I'm just working on it, it won't never happen
It
again.
doesn't matter if they're working on it. If a person has abused you physically, emotionally, or spiritually, that's a no.
You need to go your
Period.
separate ways.
Go your separate way. It's not safe.
So the next one is, now I want somebody online right now to answer this one. If you're a male, say yes or no. If you're a female, say yes or no if you want it, but let us know why. Should a woman approach a man or should they show their interest in a man? So this is to the ladies. Should a woman approach a man or how should they show their interest in a man? You want to answer that one?
I did.
While,
This
you
is our
putting it in the
story,
chat.
y'all.
Yeah, it is. But if you want to answer that, put it in the chat. Yes or no? Should a woman approach a man? Yes or no? Go ahead. Now
I say yes, a woman. I don't think a woman should approach a man.
you did.
I did not.
I was a boy, but
No, I'm just
young
saying.
man.
I didn't approach you. I got your attention.
You
There's a difference.
I would disagree. You made the approach.
I initiated our contact.
Okay, why don't you tell him what the approach was?
Okay, so we were in a classroom and I was sitting down and I saw him and I wanted his attention. So I rolled my pencil off the desk. So did I approach him or did I just get his attention?
Why did you roll your pencil off the desk?
Because I wanted to get your attention.
So she initiated the contact.
Yes, I did.
So she rolled her pencil off the desk and I stopped and picked it up and said,
I was going to say hi to you, but I wasn't sure if you'd say hi back.
you notice that? She said something to me first.
Yes.
And I responded,
Right. I initiated.
yes, I always say hi to lovely young ladies.
Yes.
That's how it happened. So I say she approached me first and she made the initial contact. So to answer the question, I think it's okay.
Yes.
Me personally, as being a guy who was approached, because sometimes guys,
Are
ladies,
slow.
we don't see everything and we don't notice everything. Sometimes you got to make it real plain, real obvious.
And
But then-
sometimes men are insecure.
Wait, but then I'll take the second part of that. But once you make the approach like she did, it should be a positive response to where you know that I'm interested.
Yes.
Sometimes I need that initial spark and then I can take it from there. See, I like Deep Thinker says, yes, you can try being kind.
Yes. Yes.
Or why is that important? You want to piggyback off of that one?
I think that being kind is important because no one wants to be shut down. No one wants to be rejected. So if you're not interested, it's okay to, be kind about your letdown. You don't have to, I don't like you, get out of my face.
Right.
I think that some of the things I'm seeing people do as a form of declining someone can be very hurtful. And I think the reason why a lot of guys are reluctant to approach women is because I'm just going to say it. Sometimes women can be nasty and ugly. And if you've gotten your feelings hurt, if you've been, treated poorly, it makes it hard for you to rebound from that. And so I think that, yes, I think that women, it's okay to let men know you're interested, but I don't think that you should pursue. I don't think that you should be the pursuer because I say this and I believe it. Men control commitment. Women control intimacy. And so you can't make a man commit to you by giving him intimacy, and you cannot, and women, we think giving them intimacy will make them commit. No, they have to want to commit.
Right.
And so intimacy is something that God gives us as a relationship to help us get closer. So you don't give that to someone who hasn't given you their commitment first.
And then we'll answer the last one, and then we'll give you the number 5, the last one. Should you live off of one income or should you have a merged bank account? This is from a financial standpoint.
And see, this goes back. And see, this is the whole heart. So this question is from who? Big.
So thank you, Big J 3339. Appreciate
thank
that
you. We
comment.
appreciate you. And so, okay, so basically the whole idea of this whole 50-50 is, well, we're going to get together. We're going to put everything together and you give 50%, I give 50%. As a couple, depending on where you are in your stage in life, like for us, we got married at 21, so we had nothing, everything.
So we were broke, y'all.
Yeah, we shared everything. I think that as a couple, you have to be willing that everything is ours. I think it's important to have the mindset of a steward and not an owner. And understanding that everything that is entrusted into our care is for our management. Does that mean you have to have a joint account and share everything together? You as a couple have to decide that. For us, we have a joint account. We share everything together. Let's just say if you're older and you get married later and you have your
You have an estate and you have resources and all those things.
So each couple has to navigate that together. But the real issue is that it's ours. Everything is ours. It's not mine and yours, it's ours. And so I think it's more so the heart and the mindset that you have to navigate, not just the physical bank account.
See, and that goes back to what the topic that we're talking about, the 50-50, because if you have that mindset is I got mine, you got yours.
Yes. It means you don't have trust.
That could
And
be.
if you can't trust the person with something as meaningless, I would say, I think the most valuable resource that God entrusts into our care is our time, because we can't make more of that. So money, you can make more money, but you can't make more time. So if you put so much value on money, then
The relationship.
it's gonna cause issues in the relationship.
Because, but even that, like Renee was talking from our own perspective, to answer the question, we just put it all in one account. But what we did was when she wanted to go out and buy something,
Have an
we had a
outline.
budget. So when she wanted to know she wanted to buy something, we didn't have separate accounts for my allowance, so to speak, and Renee's allowance or fund money
Just
or
have a
leisure
budget.
time or whatever. We knew what the budget said because we did it together, even though she managed it I managed it. It just goes back and
Back and
forth
forth.
over time. We had a dollar amount that we would be able to freely spend, long as this was within the budget, that didn't put us in the negative. When we had to do something or wanted to buy something that was over, we would check with each other before we made the
Right.
purchase.
Right.
Notice I said before, because if you buy it and then say, hey, babe, just to let you know, I spent the extra 100 on ABCD, you've kind of defeated the purpose.
Right. Of
That
accountability and
trust and
respecting each other and trusting each other, and
Yeah.
and even the shared vision. It's
Yeah.
like if you have a goal, you guys
a
have to be willing
financial
to work
goal,
at
yeah.
that. Right.
So when we had those things established in our relationship, that's what we decided for us. But just like Renee said, you have to have those kind of communications, which was number one on this 50-50
Right.
list of talking about everything.
No, it's not the 50-50. It's the 5 elements that every relationship needs to thrive.
And why 50-50
50
does not
effort,
work.
the 50-50 effort doesn't work.
So just to answer the question again, thanks, Big J. We appreciate the 3339 for the comments and the questions.
Yes.
If you have them, send them. We'll answer them on the session. We'll answer them in the live, and we'll even answer yours after we give you number 5, since you stuck around to the end.
Yes.
For number 5, you want to tell them what number 5 is?
Number 5 is effort in love. It means you have to work at it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, people always say, work at your marriage, work at your marriage. Well, love is a verb. So that means you spend time, you spend money, you spend energy, you spend effort, you spend attention. And so the effort in love is the things that you're doing to show the person that you love them. Because if you say you love me, but you don't spend time with me, you're not available, you don't, we're just basically roommates.
Existing, yeah.
You know, that's not love. And so there's the effort that has to go to
Yes,
love.
absolutely.
And it's something that you have to work at ongoing forever. And
Ecclesiastes chapter 4. I love it because it talks about 2 are better than 1.
yeah,
When you are partnered in with somebody throughout life, it makes a huge difference, because when you have successful things, when you have things that you've accomplished that are great and you want to share that with, and you have no one to share it with, it can be kind of empty. It can be kind of meaningless,
It's not as fulfilling.
as it says in Ecclesiastes chapter 4. Yeah, you accomplished something great, but if you don't have anyone to share it with, it's meaningless.
yeah.
It loses its luster. So when you have someone that you can spend life with and you're doing life with, it makes such a big difference. And the reason why we say this is the most important one, because there are going to be times in your relationships where you are going to have to exercise grace
Yeah.
to each other.
Yes.
There are going to be times where it's challenging. There's going to be times where things don't go as well as you have expected. There are going to be times where communication is not there. You're emotionally stunted. You just don't have each other's back, or one is carrying more of the weight of any of the relationship at a time, because it transfers
happens.
back and forth. Give each other grace.
Yeah.
You're sticking together and you stuck together for a reason. Know that you stuck together for a reason, and understand that I got your back, you got my back, and we're in this together.
And something else to remember about the effort in love is to understand that love is not a feeling. Love is a choice.
It's an action word.
It's an action and it's a choice. And if you love someone, it's something you choose. I choose to love Gil.
Yeah.
And the Bible says whatever things are good and pure and lovely and of good report, what are you focusing on?
Right.
It's really easy, the longer you're with someone, to focus on the things that are growth areas and not focus on the things that are their strengths. One of the things that's important, especially as women, is that we always talk about the sandwich. If I'm going to tell Gil something that I don't like, I'm going to tell him something positive, something negative, and something positive. You don't want to just tell someone everything that they're doing that's
Constantly.
wrong, because you wear them out. And it's something that I just shared with someone, and I really believe this. Men are physically strong and emotionally fragile. So the things that you can say to your girlfriends, you cannot say it to a man. And I think so many times we don't understand that, and we got this whole masculine feminine energy, or feminine and masculine energy. It's understanding that God made us different for a reason, and there's things that I can bring to our relationship that can help Gil, and there's things that Gil can bring to his relationship that can help us. I do. Do women have masculine and feminine energy? Of course they do. Do men have feminine and masculine energy? Of course they do. But we are naturally attracted to what God designed us for. And so it is not very attractive to a man for a woman to be extremely masculine and controlling and domineering, just like it's not attractive to a woman for a man to be extremely feminine. Now, that's just
Or
from our
emotionally.
perspective, or emotionally.
Yeah, just from working with couples and seeing the interactions and things that are, it's challenging in those things. But the whole point of this that we're talking about on the last one is there are going to be times in your relationship where it's not even Steven.
Yes.
You, even though you're giving 100% and they're giving 100%,
Right.
it could be something physically, mentally, emotionally, whatever. You're going to have to carry the weight of each other.
Yes.
So as long as you focus
And
on
that's what you signed up for.
Absolutely.
Marriage is where you go to give and to receive. It's not where you go to take and to demand. And so what we want to tell you guys, I know you guys last week we did an episode about what women want. And the week before that, we did an episode about what men want. And so it's important, if you guys want to know how we're, coming together with all these episodes, go back and watch the episode before that you missed, so that we can continue to build on this, because we want to build on helping us to have a healthy perspective about yourself and a healthy perspective about relationships, because we work with singles and couples for so long, we are taking the approach of prevention. We want to make sure that we're helping people build a healthy sense of their own personal identity, that they know how to communicate, they understand how to trust, they're emotionally safe, they have a vision for themselves, that they understand the effort and love. And so if we're doing all these things as individuals, when we get into relationships with other people, we're going to be able to add value to those relationships. And so rather than waiting until, I always say, don't change the tire while the car is moving.
If you have difficulties and challenges and you recognize it,
Work
stop
on you.
first.
Yeah.
Stop digging holes and stop and work on you first.
Yes.
When you work on you first, then you're making yourself better for the person that you're going to be doing life with. When you identify that there's things that I need to work on, people think that and say that, but what are you doing to work on it? By getting information and new information, not only
And
here,
new tools.
not just head knowledge.
Yeah.
You don't have a knowledge problem. You may have an application problem. Right. Apply the things that we're sharing with you to the relationship. If you recognize and realize, even some in this video or the other ones that we have posted, I need to work on that. Reach out to us. We'll talk to you.
We have sheets.
Oh my gosh, we got resources,
and exercises. Because a part of it,
Yeah.
the things that we're telling you to do are things you have to physically do. It's
and
not
that
just,
we've done.
Yeah, and that we're doing.
Yeah.
And so it's important that you understand. Like we talked about what men want. I actually had that poem that I wrote for Gil, and I'll actually put that out today.
To post it.
I didn't do it.
Yeah.
I'll post it out. But we want you guys to not just be hearers, but to be doers.
Yes.
And so we want to create this community around us actually doing the work and being the people that we want to be with. Because so many people, we have all these philosophies that are floating around.
And strategies and
But
thoughts. And
I think it's more philosophies and ideas versus giving you strategies and tools and community and accountability and support.
And a foundation. Like we said, we use the Bible as our foundation for all the things that we put together. That's why we throw scripture in there to tell you and to share with you some of the
Right.
things. Monica, thanks for the hearts and the loves
Thank
ups and the
you.
100s. We appreciate that.
Thank you. We have an episode on building trust. If you go to we have changed our
Playlist.
channel where we have a playlist of long videos that actually have all these topics. If you're looking for a certain topic, like, oh, what about trust and how about communication? We have episodes on all of these. We have an episode on emotional intelligence. We have it, so a part of it is that when we're telling you the 5 things you need, we're not just telling you that. You can go to our long playlist and look at an episode about that specific topic.
And then take it and compare it to you, not the person you're in the relationship with.
Yes.
Notice we said compare it to you.
Yes, it's for
because if you are doing it all, then help them be a better person for you.
But if you are doing what you're supposed to do, you're going to attract.
Yeah.
And the other person is going to see the results of what you think. Because I think about, like, for me, when I first got saved, I used to call my mom the bee that provided the egg. I was horrible. Yeah. And Gil, I was in there and I said something. I said, my mom. He looked at me. He said, "What did you say?" I said, "Oh, I said my mom." And it's like, so he saw a difference in me, and that made him say, "Well, dang, if she can go from saying that to saying this." So it was attractive. So the Bible says we win our spouses with our conduct and our conversation. And so we don't realize that when we do the work, it's going to make us the people that we want to be with. And we're going to make us the people that other people want to be with. So don't think that it's the other person. It's you.
And one thing that I wanted to just share before we wrap it up is this is the reason why we do these lives. We don't have to. We enjoy it. We want to share. Renee made a comment just here recently about the proactive. We want to help people establish and set up for success in their relationships. That's why we are sharing these things. Do we say we have all the answers to everything? Nope. We will share with you what we know and what we've experienced from working with couples for over 20 years in their relationships and how to develop them, but also with the singles. Because we realized, just like we did not have good examples my mom and dad got divorced, so I didn't have something as a baseline or a foundation to build upon. We're just trying to provide you with new information from a healthy source. We've been together 39 years as boyfriend, girlfriend, 36 years married, to where we want to see you thrive.
And the healthy source is the Bible, not us.
Thrive and be successful in your relationship. That's why we do the live. So we appreciate you hanging out with us. If you got questions or comments you want to put it in there. Hit the thumbs up.
If you have questions that you want us to discuss, like we're going to make that a part of our episode.
Put it in the comments.
It's going to be our one-on-one with questions from our
community. Yeah.
So you can go to our on this video. Once this video is up, any comments you want us to know about, you have to go back to the video because it does not keep the live comments.
Yeah.
So if you have questions or comments, you can also send us the email help@richrelationshiprefuge.com. That's our email. We have an app. Go to the Google App Store. Marriage Mentors Rich RR is our mobile app to help you to see if you're ready for relationships. You can check your emotional intelligence. You can check your relationship readiness, because so many times people are focused on married people and engaged people. We really have a heart for singles because we realize that no one's thinking about singles, and we were all single. Hello. And guess what? If you're engaged, you're still single.
So I got a challenge for you. As you watch this video and we put it in our notes, what is one of the areas that we listed today that you're struggling with?
Yeah.
That you're waiting to become more than just 50-50 on. Compare that to you. So what is the one area of the things that we provided, the 5 that we provided, that you are struggling with? We can add more information on the next episode. Put it in the chat, and we will see you guys
next Saturday at 12 noon. Please, if you watch this video, share it with people so they can join us live each Saturday. It helps us to grow. We are using YouTube as a platform because we realize where else can you create solutions to problems that you care about and have your own place to do that. And that's why we choose to do it on YouTube, because we appreciate the opportunity to have our own place to help people to have better relationships with themselves, God, and others. And we love you. You're more than enough. And so we'll see you next Saturday. So when you're done with this video, go and watch another, when it's live,
Yeah.
go and watch a video. And it helps. If you guys, each of you guys will watch one video a day, it helps our channel to grow. It helps the algorithm to recognize. And if you share this video after it's up, it's going to help YouTube to push it to other people. Because if the people in the community don't watch the video, it tells YouTube that this is not a good video. So if you think it's a good video, let me get some hearts.
So, and to answer, hello friends, I want to say, put your question in the chat. I know we're coming up on the end of this episode or this live session. Put it in the chat and we will respond to the question here to you directly in the chat, in the comments of the video.
Yes, not of the live.
Because this, the reason why I say that, because it won't save it once the live gets posted to the to YouTube.
Right.
So that's why I say go to the YouTube of this live and put that same question in the comments.
Yes, everybody do that, please. We appreciate you guys and we love you. And thank you for being the best part of our community. And we will see you guys next Saturday at 12 noon.
See ya.
Love you guys.